Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name's Jen, and this is views from my backyard. I figured I've got to, I'm going to pick up some pallets, some free pallets at a brewery. Not really on the way home, it's a roundabout. It's a kind of a damp evening. We haven't had a lot of rain. I don't know if I mentioned, in my garden tour, I mentioned that we haven't had a lot of rain. We're having rain today. Actually, it started this afternoon and is going to be going into the evening. I'm not sure how much we're supposed to get. I don't think it's supposed to be a lot. The last time we got rain, it was 2 inches, and that was, I want to say, a week or two ago. And then before that, it was the beginning of September. We got an inch. And I don't know that we've really got any rain in August or July. Surprisingly, it's very dry here in the Northeast, in the Adirondacks. Yeah, the creek here is very dry, which isn't really great for the vegetation. It is around the time when we're going to have a frost this week. So it is what it is. And when I say frost, it's going to be like really, really freezing. It's going to be probably almost a hard freeze. It's going to be 27 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 5 degrees under freezing. So it's going to be pretty significant. This evening, I wanted to take the opportunity to update you all on my no spend challenge and how I was writing down everything that I spent in said given months. I started that in July, and for the most part, I kept track of everything that I spent in July, pretty much as in writing down the store and the items I bought. I already keep track. I already keep track of what I spend and what I spend on what items, and I put that in a budget. But I wanted to see if there was areas where I could cut back on some of my spending. And I kept track of everything in July, and then I kept track of stuff in August, most of the stuff in August. I had mentioned in that past video that I was planning on going to a music festival in August, so it was going to be hard for me to, actually, I think I had 2 music festivals planned at that time. Then it was going to be hard for me to keep track of my spending or to refrain from spending. I see pretty much a trend with my spending overall. The places that I spend money, not necessarily like, I guess spending money frivolously would be at the dollar store in town where I work, and on Amazon. Those seem to be the 2 areas where I spend a lot of money, that, not necessarily a lot, but I spend money that I shouldn't necessarily spend. And a lot of times it's with the dollar store, a lot of times it's stuff that I don't necessarily need, but stuff that I want in the moment. So if I go to the dollar store and I have a list of things that I need to get for household items or food items or something like that, I will end up buying snacks or something. And I don't necessarily need the snacks. They don't enhance my life really in any way, shape, or form. If I was to get, I think I've gotten containers of nuts, which, yeah, I like eating nuts and stuff, but it's not the best quality. And then I'll get beef sticks and things like that, and maybe a bag of chips. Those type of items are not really, they don't enhance the quality of life, and they're not necessary for me to get. They are food items, but when I run in the store on lunch break to go get stuff that I actually need, I end up getting a few other things that I don't need. And some of the things that I've begun to do is stock up on things. So I'm trying to, every time I go to the store, or my weekly, I guess I should say my weekly store run, I am doing a little bit of prepping where I am buying some extra stuff. Like in a previous video, I mentioned that I went to Walmart and I bought some extra bags of lentils and a large bag of rice, and I vacuum sealed them up in mason jars. So I've been doing stuff like that just to make sure that I have a stock of stuff at home. So then when I run out of one thing, I'll go with like say I run out of garbage bags, I'll go and buy another garbage bag, but I'll still have a box of garbage bags on hand. I want to keep trying to do that so that I can remain prepared. But with this frugality challenge or no spend challenge, I think I kind of got bored at writing down the stuff that I was spending on, in a sense that when I'm there in the store, my brain can say, "Oh yeah, I need snacks. I'm hungry, and you know, I need more than what I brought for lunch." I can justify that in my mind, which is not necessarily like the way that I want to buy stuff. And a thing with Amazon is a lot of times the things that I buy in Amazon are not necessarily immediate needs, but they're stuff that I will use and that I want to get. So one of the things that comes to mind that I bought on Amazon was I was at a music festival, and I saw a girl that had a portable USB charged water shower sprayer thing. You stick it in a bucket of water, and you turn it on, and you can hose yourself off or wash dishes with it. It has like a shower nozzle, and it's got like a dish nozzle like you would have in your kitchen sink. I saw that and got that. I decided to get myself another side for my pop-up tent. So now I have 3 sides for my pop-up tent. And in that run, I think at that time I bought arrowroot powder, which I haven't even used the arrowroot powder yet, but I wanted to use that powder to make homemade deodorant at some point in time. And I find that when I buy things on Amazon, it's stuff that I need. I just recently purchased a carburetor and 2 filters and some posted signs for my weed trimmer, and then the posted signs for my property. So those are things that I'm going to use. They're not, I wouldn't say, an immediate need. I did need to work on my trimmer, and I thought that the carburetor was bad, so I bought a new carburetor, and I definitely needed the air filter. So I got the air filter in there, and the air filter was good, and I replaced that. But then I sprayed off the carburetor that was on the thing with brake fluid and cleaned it up. So it ended up being cleaning it out, and it ended up running without me having to screw around with it and change the carburetor. I did have the carburetor just in case I needed it, but I really ended up not needing it. But now I have a carburetor. It really wasn't that much money, but I guess if I think about things like this, doing that, even though I'll get something and I'll say, oh, I want to get this for whatever reason, it's not necessarily an immediate need. And I do want to put up the posted signs around my property. I noticed when I went out to check my maple trees that a whole bunch of them were either fell down or broken or whatnot or gone. So I do want to put those up, and that's a good thing that I plan on doing. But I guess I can justify those. That's the hard part about doing a no spend challenge, is I can justify that. I knew that I was going to be going to 2 music festivals, so I knew that I was probably going to be spending extra money, and I'm sure, I don't have my notes in front of me, but I'm sure that in July I bought extra food it would be the same as if I was buying food for home, but it was to buy food to go to the music festival, and it wasn't necessarily food that I wouldn't normally eat, like snacks when I go to the dollar store. And when I went to the music festival in August, it was canceled at the last minute. It was canceled when I got to the gate. I didn't know about it until I got to the gate. So I had to find a place to stay overnight. So I found a campground, and that was not overly cheap. I think that was $78 for a tent site. But what are you going to do when you're 5 hours away from your home and you get to a place where you thought you were going to be able to camp and you already paid for it, and it's closed? So there was that, and then I found another place to stay, and I could have gone home. I could have probably salvaged all of my money from the trip by just going home after the first night, but I did decide to stay in Maine for 2 more nights at a different campground. That one was $72 a night, and it was a really nice campground. I would think it was a little more expensive than I wanted to pay for a tent site, but that was the going rate. There weren't any other campgrounds that had any tent sites that were any cheaper. So yeah, I spent extra money doing that. I spent extra money because I went to beaches and I had to pay for parking. I went to a couple state campgrounds or state parks. So I spent extra money in Maine that I hadn't planned on spending just because the music festival was canceled at the last minute and I had to find a place to stay. And like I said, I could have gone home, but I was at the point where I was like, I don't get away. I don't go anywhere. The 2 music festivals are the only vacations really that I've taken. And it's hard to be able to justify that money. I did attempt the no spend challenge, and I did attempt at least the part where I was writing down what types of things I was buying, and I can see some value in that process because I do know areas that I tend to spend more money that I shouldn't necessarily spend. I have recognized those things, but I guess all in all, my no spend challenge was a fail. I kind of didn't have a lot of high hopes for it anyway, but oh, turkey bird! I do need to show some restraint in some of the things that I do buy. I could fill up my Amazon cart with all kinds of shit and just buy because I can use it. I will use it, but that's not really the point. So I guess this long video to say that, yeah, I failed with the no spend. It is what it is. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll catch you guys next time. My name is Jen. This is Views from My Backyard.